Alright, so today we're going to be talking about a topic that I've wanted to talk about for some time now in some sort of capacity. This has always been kind of a topic that's been on my mind, and I've always kind of wanted to make a video about it, but over the years my idea of me making a video about it has changed over and over again as my idea of the concept has changed over and over again. Basically what I'm saying is my stance on this issue has been very wishy-washy, and I'm just going to start off the video right now by admitting that. I've had some ups and downs with trying to figure out how exactly I feel about this entire concept as a whole. But I really, one of the major reasons that I'm making this video is because I really just want to put my foot down on the topic. Because this has actually gotten to the point where it's really pissed me the frick off, to say the least. This has actually affected some of my friendships in the past. Today we are dipping our feet into the concept of YouTube mixed with business. I feel like Shady Penguin he has a quote, but I'm gonna paraphrase really hard because it's been a while since I've seen this video, but he said it very well. And this isn't even entirely what I'm going to be talking about, it's just a small portion to give you kind of a feel for exactly what position a lot of content creators are in. I'm not necessarily in myself, but I want to describe this kind of interesting situation that we've gotten ourselves in. Basically, on one hand, you have the option as a content creator to create what you want to create. The benefit of this, of course, would be the fact that you can have a lot of fun doing what you're doing. And when you have a lot of fun doing what you want to do, that's generally going to lead to better content because you're more excited and more motivated to do it yourself. The other decision that you have, the other option, is you can make whatever your fans, your air blowers want you to make. And of course, the benefit to this is that you can appease your fans. But there's downsides to both, which creates a lose-lose situation that makes the content creator look like a piece of garbage. Basically, if you're making whatever you want to make, you're having fun doing it, sure, but you're not listening to the fans, and so you don't really care about what your fans think, and so you're just a bad person. But then if you do whatever your fans want you to do, you're just kind of like this money-grabbing scum of the earth who just does it for the money, and that's it. So, like, what's the options here? You're running out of options here. I don't actually know exactly how relevant this is to what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not doing YouTube for the money, basically. I hear this accusation a lot, and it's, usually when the accusation is made nowadays, it's kind of true. But it's not just done in YouTube, it's done like everywhere else, like in music in particular. If someone switches up their music styles, they're labeled a freaking ripoff for whatever reason. Now, I'm coming from the perspective of somebody who identifies as a creative person. Okay, now let me clarify right off the bat. When I say that I'm a creative person, I do not mean to say that I make amazingly creative and original ideas that no one's come up with before. I don't actually think that's what defines a creative person based off of what I've researched about creative people. From what I've seen in creative people are more defined not by what they make, but by the fact that they make in the first place. Creative people have this brain that's telling them they have to constantly make things, basically. They're constantly in this need and desire to express themselves in some way, shape, or form. And so they always feel the need to make things. So that's kind of what I identify as. I identify as somebody who constantly needs to make things. I have a brain that basically will not let me not make things. So in regards to YouTube is my favorite way to express myself. It's my favorite platforms on which I make things. My personal favorite, of course. Other people like music and writing, and I like those things too, but I prefer YouTube above all else. It's actually gotten to the point where I do not play video games unless I'm also doing something related to YouTube. If I'm not recording, I'm grinding for or after a recording. These days, I do not play video games without doing something YouTube related, and that's just kind of how they go together. They go hand in hand, basically. I barely enjoy video games unless I'm recording nowadays, which is why I have to live stream it at the very least, or record it so I can maybe chop something up for the YouTubes. And YouTube is something that I've actually wanted to do for a very long time. For those of you who do not know, I discovered YouTube when I was 7 years old. That was back in 2005. And of course, as a 7-year-old, I was not allowed to go on YouTube. I mean, yeah, sure, I could have bypassed the only you had to be above 13 rule or whatever, but I had parents, so I was not getting away with that. But my parents didn't really like YouTube themselves, so I had to wait not till 13 but till 14 before I could finally get a YouTube channel. And that was February 22nd of 2013. And I remember that date very specifically because that was easily one of the biggest days of my life. Because for 7 years, I wanted to express myself on this platform. I wanted to make YouTube videos. And let's keep in mind that when I was 7 years old and I had discovered YouTube and I had initially fallen in love with the concept of uploading videos and expressing yourself through videos, when I first discovered YouTube, there was no way to make money off of YouTube. It wasn't like this. There was no YouTube partnership program or whatever. So people back then especially, but this would include myself, despite the fact that I wasn't creating anything. I would be creating things back then if I could. They'd be garbage things, but I would be creating things if I could back then, but I wouldn't be doing it out of a motivation for money, because it was impossible to do that. But this becomes relevant when you consider the fact that I've been accused multiple times of doing YouTube so that I can get views, which is just kind of, it's fine. You can accuse me of whatever you want to accuse, but it itched me enough, and I got enough of this kind of response to the point where I felt the need to make a video about it a long time ago, actually, but I didn't know how to word it, and I think maybe I do now. But who knows? Maybe I'll just end up rewriting this again, because I've tried to come up with some type of video like this for a very long time now. The consensus is like this: if I could make money off of YouTube, that would be great. That would be awesome. That would be what I'd like to call a sweet spot. Doing what you love to do for a living. Yes, that would be great. But I am satisfied where I am. If I never gain another subscriber, if I never gain another view, I would be perfectly fine with this, because the primary reason that I do YouTube in the first place is to have fun. This, to a number of my friends, just seems to be some sort of oxymoron or contradiction or something. The concept of doing YouTube for no reason other than to have fun just seems mind-blowing to them. Like they can't wrap their freaking head around it. And so, of course, ever since the days of Team Unleashed, I have been accused by my friends, my close friends, that I'm really just doing this for money. Or maybe not money, but views at the very least. But just in case me trying to become a YouTuber at an age on YouTube where you couldn't make money wasn't enough proof for you, let me give you a little bit more. I do know how you can succeed, or at least increase your odds of succeeding on YouTube, and I can tell you right now that I am not currently doing it. The biggest thing you can do to grow on YouTube right now is to have decent long videos, of course, because the algorithm prefers watch time, which is great. I'm doing that part. But it's not just consistency there. It's also consistency with regular schedules, maybe uploading 3 videos a week, or at least weekly schedules. I should have a reliable amount of videos coming in every week at the very least. And I do have some decent consistency there, although that's not all that great. But what's really important, and this has been discovered after hours and hours of research, and not just that, but it's been affirmed by some of Game Theory's YouTube videos. If you've seen any of those on how the algorithm works, basically, if I wanted to grow on YouTube, I would want to stick to a consistency as far as games go. I wouldn't want to try and appeal to one audience and then switch games all of a sudden, or whatever, and do another audience. Basically what I'm saying is that one of the better ways that I could improve my chances of succeeding financially or numbers wise in general on YouTube is I could only play Overwatch. I'm technically hurting my chances of becoming a popular and successful YouTuber by adding things like Let the Mirror, with Big Red Blob, Pokemon, randomized Nuzlocke, Soul Link, vlogs, maybe not vlogs. Vlogs can be random and spontaneous and whatever. But what I'm saying is that I would have a much better chance if I had just been doing, Overwatch this entire time. If I kept to something that I felt like an audience would want to connect to. But then Overwatch would be a very bad decision for me, because if you look at my most popular uploads, they're actually Super Mario 63 videos with an occasional Overwatch news video. Basically, if you hit the most popular videos page on my channel, you will see that the majority of them are all Super Mario 63 videos. Almost all of them are above 500 views or so. Which is much, but like I said, I don't care. So so basically, the piece of evidence that I'm offering you right now is that I know of ways that I can improve my chances of becoming a very successful YouTuber, but I'm choosing not to do it because I have fun doing Lethamir with Bleb. I have fun doing Heart Gold Soul Silver with Shaved Gorilla. I have fun vlogging. Speaking of vlogging, A Touch of Nature is a 55-minute long video that probably kept the attention span of nobody. I could have cut that down into 3 different parts because there were 3 different chapters and I would have gotten more views off of it overall, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have fun with this. I wanted to really express myself in that capacity. Now, I did end up uploading chapter 3 separately, but that was because YouTube glitched for whatever reason, and now whenever you play the last part, last like 15 minutes or so of the video, you get this like weird repeat back to the beginning, and it makes no sense. So YouTube's never done that to me before. I don't know what's up with that, but point is, it wasn't necessarily a very good move to decide to just throw that onto a gaming channel, especially. And I may or may not feel the need to shout out a couple of my friends here, and not shout out, more like call out, and I apologize. I'm not trying to start any bad blood here, but this has legitimately pissed me off. I've been accused of my best friends since the very beginning of Team Unleashed that I don't do YouTube for fun. I don't do YouTube for fun. I do it for views. Or at least I may have fun. Some of them may think that I have some fun, sure, but I do it for views. The first instance that this occurred to me was when the Team Unleashed happened. Now, for those of you who don't know, I created Team Unleashed with the intention of rivaling Team Wyvern. And I'm not going to go into great details of that story because a lot of people don't want me to. But the reason that I bring it up is because a lot of people told me that the only reason that I created Team Unleashed was for views, was so that I could get a very interesting team thing going. Whereas Team Wyvern versus Team Unleashed, oh, people want to watch that. We get more views. It's all business. It's all about the money. And yet they forget the fact that one of the major reasons that I did this, and one of the best things, the best outcomes that came out of this, amongst the many bad things that came out of it, but one of the best things that came out of it was this 5v5 survival games match that we had. And that was the most fun that I've ever had playing Minecraft ever. And that's not an exaggeration. So once again, I enjoy competitive nature of things. That's not an example of me doing YouTube for the views. That's not an example of me doing YouTube because I want to become famous and what the frick ever. That's still another example of me creating something with the intention of having lots of fun. And as someone with a very competitive nature, that was very fun to me. But what really, really, really ticked me the frick off is when, particularly this happened with Son of Paint and Beaver Blob. This was a conversation that we had a while ago. Superpow, I'm not entirely sure where he stands on this side of things. As far as I know, Superpow did YouTube for fun, basically. And he had a very similar mindset to mine, but it seemed to be kind of fluctuating as well. Basically, my friends, we've had a lot of ups and downs with the topic of YouTube, because Son of Paint and Beaver Blob don't take YouTubing very seriously, like as a hobby like I do. And one of the things that they've been kind of annoyed about is me switching over to Overwatch. They've actually been annoyed over this thing with Overwatch. They said they preferred my other videos, they missed the goof-offs and whatever, and that's fine. I mean, I am very proud of those YouTube videos. I'm very happy with how they turned out, and that's great. But they were literally saying this whole, basically what they were saying, they didn't say this specifically, but they were basically saying, I miss the old Animal Man. I miss the old Animal Man that played Minecraft and made goof-offs and not this crappy Overwatch game, because of course they didn't care very much for the game themselves, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But to think that my very best friends were saying things like, I miss the old content. I don't want you to express yourself the way that you want to express yourself. I want you to go back to what you were originally doing. And I said, of course, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever the frick I want with my YouTube channel. And I don't base that based around what my friends want me to do. And that's not to be offensive, but like, I do not do this for friends. If any of my friends don't like the content that I make, they can feel free to unsubscribe and leave. That's perfectly fine. But my friends insisted that I should care. And I was like, well, why should I care? Because it gives you more views. I remember very specifically, Jason said, Austin, if you want to be good on YouTube, if you want to be big on YouTube, you're going to want to listen to our advice. Which was very clear evidence that he did not get the picture at all, that I did not give a frick about being big on YouTube. Apparently, after being friends with him for so long, he had not gotten the concept of me wanting to do YouTube solely for the fun of it and not for numbers. But of course, I told him this, and he went on my YouTube channel and he asked me, hey Austin, you notice how your views have gone down ever since you started uploading Overwatch videos? First of all, they haven't. Second of all, did you listen to what I just freaking said? I don't give a frick about my YouTube views. I really don't. I don't care if my YouTube views went down because I started playing Overwatch. I have more fun playing Overwatch than I have fun playing Minecraft, so I'm going to play freaking Overwatch. I don't choose my game choices based off of who enjoys my content and how many people would enjoy this and how many people would enjoy that. If somebody doesn't like my videos, they should do me and themselves a favor and screw the frick off. He's just been going over my YouTube videos and he's like, Austin, your video views, they're so low. And then Beer Blob, of course, joins in. He's like, yeah, even the ones that are a few months old. Once again, I don't care. And this didn't stop there. It kind of just went downhill from this point on. I have been accused by them of faking reactions in my reaction videos. For example, reaction to Orisa, a reaction to Sombra, whatever. I've been accused of faking my reaction, which is funny. I mean, it's possible that I've faked my reaction, but it's also quite possible that I freaking love Overwatch and that I am really freaking excited, actually. And then, of course, Son of Paint would come in and say, oh, yeah, Austin made another reaction video because that's the only way that he makes views. And honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter if I make views because I'm pretty sure there's like $100 threshold on YouTube. So, like, even if I did make views, it wouldn't matter. I wouldn't make any freaking money off of it. I don't make any freaking money off of it, and I don't care. Once again, I want to reiterate, if I did make money off of YouTube, that would be great. Yes, cool. I'll take the money because I would love to do what I love to do for a living. Yes, that would be great. But that's not a priority. That's not what I'm thinking about when I make YouTube videos. I make YouTube videos because I want to express myself. I want to constantly make things. And I think I've just come to the conclusion that those of you who maybe aren't creative people, maybe you don't have brains that say, oh, you have to constantly make things like me, maybe you're just simply incapable of understanding that concept. In which case, I feel sorry for you, but I just cannot express to you how frustrating it is. It wouldn't be as frustrating if it was some random pleb off the internet, but my best friends are accusing me of doing YouTube for views. That is on a whole new level of like frustration, and ultimately, I at the end of the day, I don't care. But it's itched me enough to the point where I have to make a video about it. You can honestly think whatever you want to think about what I'm doing or what my motivations are. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But yeah, I take issue with the mindset that my friends have in this context. They shouldn't be, thinking they're in charge of someone else's freaking YouTube channel. That's stupid as frick. And it's been very difficult to take criticism from them. Because it's like, yeah, you can criticize me, that's fine. I'm open to criticism. I've even done things about criticism before, but I've only done things with criticism if I liked it. One of the best examples of this was my outro. I did an outro of like a year or two back when I had ScreenFlow and it was easier to use. And I was really happy with how the outro turned out. I was really, really happy with how the outro turned out. Beware Blob, of course, wanted to give his feedback on the outro. That's fine. He can do that. He gave me like a list of things he didn't like about it, and I read it, and I didn't say anything, but I mentally was like, frick no. And that's kind of how it's just been for basically all the criticism that they've given me. It's just they give me an idea, and I'm just like, why the frick no? This goes against my mindset. This goes against like everything that I do YouTube for. This goes against my motivation to do YouTube in the first place since I was freaking 7 years old. Like, no, screw you. I'm not doing that. And even more lately, they have not been constructive in the concept at all. They've been very beat downy with it. One of the best examples of this mindset, to change the subject, would in fact have to be Stir.
Anyway, on the topic of my channel, videos, I kind of had another thing that I've really been thinking about a lot since I came back from PAX, and this is going to get weird. I don't know how to get into this exactly and explain to you the thought process here, but the summary of what it is that I really need to stop not making videos that I want to make. To give you an actual example here, Sweet Genius, that video, if you haven't watched it, I liked it a lot. I'm really proud of that video. It took me 2 weeks to make, but that was such a dumb decision to actually make that. You know, think about it. If it took 2 weeks to make Sweet Genius, I was actively working on that video for 2 weeks. I didn't upload any other videos during those 2 weeks because of how much I was working on it. I kind of laser focused onto it, and that's all I could think about, so I just only worked on that. Okay, 2 weeks of working on that. It comes out. It has less views than the TF2 video would have if I spent a few hours making that. So, already horrible waste of time if you think of it that way. If I had instead made 5 Team Fortress 2 videos a week for 2 weeks instead of making Sweet Genius, this just seems like that makes so much more sense. They'd get more views than Sweet Genius did. There'd be 5 of them each week, so there'd be 10. That is like, I can't accurately express how much easier that would make my life if I wanted to do that, but I don't. I love making videos that are much more involved, use something different. And despite how little sense it made to make that Sweet Genius video, because again, it was a video about a cooking show, for one. Who cares? 2, I could have had my channel taken down because it's a video about a cooking show. Like, there's a whole set of copyright stuff that it just didn't make sense to make that video at all. But it's just, that's what I wanted to make. I had a lot of fun doing it. I learned a lot making it, and, you know, if I'm to point back in time and say, you know, here are the videos I'm proud of making, and I'm happy that I made, you know, that's way up there on the list. Had I made 5 Team Fortress 2 videos a week for 2 weeks, I don't think they'd be very memorable. I don't think I'd remember what happened in any individual video, but that seems like what a lot of people want, and I just really can't do that. I can't care to do that. A lot of times, I don't make the Sims 4 video, which again, not sensible. Tons of people are going to be making Sims videos. I'm going to be accused of copying probably at least 3 people because, I don't know, that's just what happens. I apparently copy people I don't know exist. People are going to tell me I got paid to make the Sims video, which happens every time I make a video that isn't TF2, which is insane because if you want to talk about being paid to make videos, I'd get more money if I just made those 5 TF2 videos a week, which I'm not doing. I don't care about that.
That's okay, Stir, please, just upload anything, I don't care what it is. You could paint a fence and I would watch it. You know how many times I've seen that, like, comment? And I don't care. Why I make videos has always actually been, like, crazy selfish. It's not because I want to entertain all my bro. I want to make a video. I like making videos. It's, like, entirely for me. That's the truth. I just want to make videos, and to the people who like get that and understand that and even respect it a little bit, thanks. You guys are awesome.
Dur doesn't give a frick. He really doesn't. You notice that? I don't want to say he's a role model, but he shares a very similar mindset to mine. He would be more successful on YouTube right now if he continued making TF2 videos. That's the truth of it. Especially at that point in time, before YouTube or before TF2 slowly started to decay. Three other people, good friends of mine who show this quality off very well, would have to be my friends Shave Gorilla, Carsonist, and Shadow Gaming. These people all seem to have a very similar mindset of mine, where they're not doing YouTube with the expectation of, oh, I'm going to be famous one day, and yeah, views, and I'm gonna get the big bucks off of video games and YouTube. Yes, they've showed expressions of how they want to grow, and that's great. I'm all for that. But they have their priorities straight. They prioritize fun over popularity, which seems to be the exact opposite of some of how my other friends seem to think. Carsonist is one person that I want to talk about in particular, because I don't remember exactly what he was celebrating, but he was celebrating a milestone of some kind. I want to say it was one of his yearly milestones, like his 1-year anniversary on one of his channels or something like that. He made a video celebrating this milestone, and it was literally a compilation of all of his thumbnails, all of the thumbnails that he created. And the thing is that, like, when I initially saw this video, that's literally what it was. It was he had a little intro from what I remember, and then he played music, and he had a slideshow of all the thumbnails he created, and that was it. That was his celebration of this pretty big milestone. And I was watching this and I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, I guess. But after a while, I thought about it and I realized that this is actually kind of amazing, because Carsonist put a lot of time and effort into these thumbnails. And making thumbnails is an art form, and it can be very fun for a lot of people. I've actually had a lot of fun lately with making thumbnails. The Carsonists seem to have a lot of fun making thumbnails, and so that's what he wanted to celebrate. That's how he wanted to express himself on that milestone, and I'm very happy that he got to do that. He may have known that, like, that's not something that a lot of YouTubers do, and that's not a lot of audiences out there aren't going to be too interested in a bunch of thumbnails, but he was proud of those thumbnails, and so he made that video. The only person that he had to impress as far as expectations go was himself, because he made an art, he expressed himself the way that he wanted to do it, and he should be proud of that. That's just one of the best examples of, like, someone making something that no one would make, but it's a good thing that he did that, because it shows that at the end of the day, he cares more about what he enjoys than what his viewers may want. I want to close off with two things. Number one, you'll notice there is not a single video on this channel, with the exception of maybe like a joke that's not supposed to be taken seriously. I've never said anything along the lines of, sure, at the beginning it would make sense that I wouldn't do this, like, oh, smash that like button. I've never said anything like that. I've never said, comment down below, subscribe, and I have friends who do that, and that's perfectly cool. If you want to do that, that's totally cool, but I did that for a very specific reason. I made sure, by doing this, I made sure that my mindset was focused on fun. It's also worth mentioning that I've never ever made a video celebrating some sort of subscriber milestone. I've never made a video going, oh yay, we made it to 100 subscribers or anything like that, because that's not really a priority of mine. That's not something that I wanted my YouTube channel to be about. What I wanted the channel to be about was more about the moments, and that's why I have yearly specials to celebrate the day that I began this journey, that I started expressing myself in this way. By not asking for subscribers and by not saying, oh, click on that like button, I was trying to express that whatever you do, if you leave a comment, if you like If you subscribe, that's great. I appreciate that. But I don't do YouTube so that you can click those buttons. I don't do YouTube so I can watch a number go up. I do YouTube because I have a blast doing it, and I want to do it for the rest of my life if I can help it. I want to do YouTube for as long as YouTube is fun. And right now, I'm having a blast on YouTube, and I'm not letting anyone get in the way of that, not even a friend. And that's why you'll never hear me ask for likes, ask for subs whatsoever. It's not because I don't appreciate it, it's because I want to enforce my priorities in the right order. Fun before numbers. I want to end on one note by C.S. Lewis. Pretty dang sure this was by C.S. Lewis. I could be completely wrong. I heard this from my pastor, and he was quoting C.S. Lewis, and I can never find the quote. So I'm going to paraphrase it pretty dang hard here. Imagine there's a tribe, okay? There's a tribe, and this is like, I don't know, a couple thousand, maybe a couple hundred years ago. There's a tribe who explores new land, and he comes across a valley or something, and it's very beautiful. There's flowers everywhere. There's amazing trees, plants they've never seen before. It's very colorful, it's very bright, it's very vibrant. And so as maybe a theist or something, the explorer thinks to himself, is this wasted beauty? Because I mean, this beauty, this beautiful flower, these flowers, this amazingness that God created has just been here for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, and no one's noticed it. So why would anyone waste their time creating that? Why would a God create that? Was that beauty wasted? No, the beauty wasn't wasted because God was there to enjoy it. And that's still relevant to us today. Billions and trillions and billions upon trillions and trillions and trillions of light years away, there's probably some of the most beautiful sights to see in outer space. Probably breathtaking sights to see in outer space. And a lot of us will never be able to see them ever. But God created them. Assuming that God created them, of course, if you don't believe in God. Did God waste his time making that? Did God waste his time making those beautiful things if no one's ever going to see them? The answer is no, because God was there to see him. God was there to enjoy his own creation. In the same way, if no one ever watches my videos ever again, will I have wasted my creativity on YouTube? No, because I will be there to enjoy it. I will always make YouTube videos as long as it's fun. I will always make YouTube videos as long as there is at least one person watching me, and that one person is me. Because I love my creations a lot. And that's something that pretty much all of you are not going to be able to relate with me on. And that's perfectly fine. But just know I'm making this because I love it. And hopefully this is the last I'll ever speak on this topic. Thank you.